Hi, welcome to What's Up with DJ Now. Today we're making Instant Pot Sous Vide Pot Roast. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be making my broth with my Better Than Bouillon broth. And what this is I'm going to put a little bit of juice inside the baggie. You don't want to do too much, but I'm going to put my seasoning, so I'm going to make some broth to put in there. The Better Than Bouillon is a condensed broth, so you can just make the amount that you need. It's very good, and it comes in all different flavors. So what I'm putting is 2 teaspoons it's 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces of water, and I had 2 cups of water, even though I'm not going to use them all in this bag. And so I'm going to dissolve the 2 teaspoons into the hot water that I've microwaved. And I'm also going to put my seasonings in there so that they can open up and awake inside the hot broth. And when you sous vide, you can go ahead and put a little bit of fluid in your bag, but you don't want to put too much because you want to get as much air out of the bag and vacuum seal to the bag as much as you can. I don't have a vacuum sealer, but I will show you in a little bit how you can do that without one. Now I'm going to put some Himalayan salt in there, it's really the McCormicks Himalayan Pink sea salt with the black pepper and garlic mixed in. These are my cute new little magnetic spice tins that I bought. There's also a video on those if you're interested in them, but they're pretty cool. I organized my spices recently. And here's my thyme leaves. And I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of that in there also as well. And with the broth being hot, it's going to, awaken those seasonings and get them all infused in there. Give it a nice stir. I'm going to put me about 4 dashes or so of Worcestershire sauce in there. And now we're going to get the bag prepared. I'm going to have that in my Instant Pot pot. I'm going to put a little bit of fluid in there, like I said, not a lot, and I'm going to keep the rest for later on for when I make my juice. Now, what you can do when you don't have a vacuum sealer is we're going to do what's called, and let me put the bay leaves in there. And what we're going to do is something called the water displacement method. That's to get all of the air out of the bag because you want as close of tight of seal on your meat as you can get. I do have a little bit of broth in there, like I said, but you don't want to overly fill it, so don't put too much. Now we're going to ziplock this all the way to the end except for the last little part. And I'm going to put my finger in there just to hold it open, then I'm going to make sure it's completely ziplocked the rest of the way. And now we're going to take as hot of water as you can get out of your tap water, because then it won't take as long to come to the heat element. And we're going to pour that in directly into the pot while the bag's in there. And then what you're going to do is push the bag down into the water, and you're going to push the air out of it. And the water will automatically force any air that's in the bag out. That's why you leave a little bit open at the end until we can get it, in there. Push it down in the water, but just make sure not to get any water in that open area that you have. And then we're going to zip it closed right there. And then that's going to take that air out of the bag. See, when I lift it up, it's all sucked up against it except for the little bit of fluid that we left in there, the juices. And we're just going to push that down inside the pot. Now we're going to come over to our pot, and we're going to set this on sous vide. at the temperature we want the meat to be. Now I'm going to leave it at 145, but I'm just showing you that you use the up and down arrow to do whatever temperature you want. First is the temperature. You press sous vide again, and now it's going to be the amount of time. Now we're going to set this for 24 hours. And it is recommended, if you look up any sous vide information online, it's recommended that you do it anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, depending on the size of your roast. But they highly recommend no less than 24 hours to get the full tenderness of the meat. So I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to do it for 24 hours. And you'll watch it turned on, the machine turned on. Now I want to show you, when you are sous vide, you want to make sure and press and release any pressure, because you don't want to cook under pressure. You're not using the pressure cooker function. You're using the sous vide function. So make sure and release your pressure. Okay, now coming back 24 hours later, and we're going to take off the lid. Now on the sous vide mode, it will keep your meat, your water, at that temperature that you've put in for the whole 24 hours. That's what's great about it. Okay, now I've emptied the juice from the baggie. I'm going to save that later to use to make, the rest of my meal. And here's the roast in the baggie. And I've taken it out, and you can see how it looks. It's completely done. Now we're going to hit the saute mode, because we're going to sear the roast after. And I set it to saute for 10 minutes. It will click on, and then when it comes to the heat element it should be at, then you put in your oil. I put in a little bit of oil, a little bit of butter, and we're just going to sear each side of the meat for, a couple minutes on each side, just to brown it up a little bit, just to give it a better look. And you're going to kind of move it around. I was having trouble. When you first put meat down, it kind of sticks. That's natural, so you just got to kind of slide it around. And then here's the roast after it was seared. Nice and juicy and shiny, glistening. Okay, now you're going to want to let your roast sit for about 10 minutes after searing it, so that it can rest before you start slicing it up. So now here I'm going to start slicing it. I'm showing you that the grains are going that direction. You always want to cut against the grain if you want to slice it up nicely. If you don't mind shredding it, you can pull it apart any way you want, but I was going to slice it up, so slice against the grain. It was nice and easy to cut. Look how pretty it is. Looks so good. Let me show you up close. It's kind of a thicker piece that I cut. You can cut it as thick or as thin as you'd like. I'm showing you that it just pulls right apart. And I was going to have to taste, of course. So, excuse me while I take a taste. So we'll go ahead and continue cutting this up. This roast, like I said, was cooked at 145 degrees. I don't like rare meat. If you like yours more rare and bloody, then you can cook it to a lesser temperature. I will be putting that information in the link below. But basically, if you, excuse me, are liking your roast to be more rare, then you're going to want to do it for anywhere between 130, or not, the temperature would be between 130 and 134 if you do like it like that. And then for a medium one, you would do it anywhere between 138 and 142. I'll put more details in the comments that are linked in the video, so it'll be a little easier for you to read it. But anyhow, you can just, you know, set the temperature to what you want your meat to be. I don't like rare. And then here's Sammy coming to see, you know, he's my assistant. He's got to get his little sample and see what's going on. So there you go, Sammy. He's so gentle. He takes it so gently. So we're going to go ahead and finish cutting this up, slicing it up. I did some pieces thin, you know, all different. You can use this roast for the traditional roast dinner kind of thing, or you could do sandwiches. I'm going to do roast dinner for the first night, and then I'm going to do some beef dips with cheese and caramelized onions on the second night. And here's the meat all cut up. And then what I did is I took the juice and cut me up some potatoes and put some baby carrots, and I cooked those for about 12 minutes in the juice that the roast was cooked in with a little bit more beef broth. And I was going to go ahead and make, you know, the traditional roast beef type dinner. Excuse me. You don't have to make roast like this in your Instant Pot. I do have another video showing how to make roast the pressure cooker method way, and that video is also on my YouTube channel. But this one I wanted to be able to do a sous vide roast to see how it would turn out, and it was very tender. Now here's my meal. Like I said, I made the potatoes and the carrots, and with the juice, cooked those for only 12 minutes because they don't take very long at all. And then I took the meat that was cut up and I put it all inside the Instant Pot in the juice and let it warm up and get all nice and hot in there. And it was a great meal. And like I said, you can do it any way you prefer. This is just one method of cooking your roast. If you'd like to look up my other video for the other roast, please feel free to do that. Both of them are very good. Thank you for watching my video, and I really hope you had a nice weekend, and take care. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.